single person in your life that enjoys paying taxes? No, no one does. If you can't sleep at night because you have a huge problem with the IRS, I've got some free advice for you. This service is strictly limited to individuals that owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes. And if you qualify, we can guarantee that you won't be writing a big fat check to the IRS, or our services cost you nothing. The first 100 people that call today will get a free tax consultation worth $500. Stop worrying about your IRS problem. We can help you, we promise. Call the tax doctor right now. I mean right now to learn more.
800-605-4650. 800-605-4650. 800-605-4650. That's 800-605-4650.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota, ESPN Northwest Florida. Broadcasting from the CBC Construction Studios. Get ready.
Let's play the game.
Sports Talk Radio will never be the same.
I just don't think that anybody's going to succeed in that system.
It's a bad organization.
It's just a bad organization.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
Onion pickles, onions, pickles.
Live and local.
Look, it's impressive.
On ESPN.
Northwest Florida.
I mean, it's not like he hasn't gotten anything done. He's sitting there at 9 home runs, one off the major league lead behind Suarez, Judge, and Cal Raleigh. So, Mike Trout, he's such a great player. I really hope that he can, that this is just soreness and that's all it is. I mean, it's all it's being reported as now is just soreness. So we're waiting to see if there's going to be any more long-term discussion after this. But maybe it was just one of those things where, for the first time, like you said, James, he's played one season out of the last 4. Maybe his body is just going, hang on, we're not used to this much baseball. Maybe we're just a little bit sore here today.
Yeah.
As much as I hate load management, maybe he needs a little bit.
I think that's one of the things we're going to start seeing more of in baseball is load management, because we're seeing some proof now that giving these guys a day off a week is helping them stay healthier, is actually helping them with keeping numbers up. Now, you do get those handful of guys that do play better every day. We can look at Luke Gehrig, we can look at Cal Ripken, those kind of guys, but those are rare guys. They're not on every single team. So I'm even thinking that we're going to start seeing 6-man rotations here in the next 5 to 10 years.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
Just because arms are just so valuable for pitching right now. Everybody, you've got to be able to be carrying 8 starting pitchers now. Mm-hmm. You just have to, because you're going to lose 3 at some point for more than like 2 or 3 weeks at a time. So why aren't we throwing in a 6-man rotation and just basically telling everybody, okay, you're just going to pitch 1 day a week? Right now, with the schedules, teams usually have a day off, at least one every week, because of the not expanded schedule, but, adding another week to the season so they can have more games, spread apart. But load management is coming to baseball. Yep. And I think, truthfully, it should have been here probably sooner.
One of the stories of last year, James, was Caitlin Clark and just the way that she took the world by storm. Obviously her run through college basketball, but then, her entry into the WNBA. And, we had all the discussion over, how great is she and are they targeting her? The one thing you could not deny was her impact on the bottom line of attendance in the arenas. And, a lot of people thought, well, maybe that's worn off a little bit. We'll see how it is in year 2. Let me give you a little stat here. I picked this up from Outkick today. So the Fever, the Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark's team, they're scheduled to play the Brazilian national team in a preseason game this Sunday. Now, in a brilliant bit of marketing by the WNBA, which we normally don't say because they've been behind the 8 ball a lot, they're actually going to host this game at Carver Hawkeye Arena at the University of Iowa. And genius to bring her back. The game begins at 4 p.m. our time. And if you would like to go up and catch the game, the cheapest tickets available on Ticketmaster right now are nosebleed seats, over $200 per seat for a preseason tilt against the Brazilian national team.
You would not think that, girls basketball. Girls basketball getting more popular, WNBA getting more popular, but man, $200 for a game that, let's face it, at the end of the day, it doesn't go in the record books.
Yeah. You want a front row seat, James?
Yeah, I do.
Before taxes and fees, how about $700 a seat?
Ooh, and those Ticketmaster fees and places like that, you're going to add another 20% to that. So, yeah, that's $850.
Average seat, $440, excluding fees.
Ooh.
Just to see a Caitlin Clark preseason game.
At a college arena. Not a bad college arena.
Genius to go back to her alma mater, obviously, and that's going to be huge. But, man, that is unbelievable.
I hope the WNBA pushes this kind of like, the NFL does with the Hall of Fame game. Really try to get people in and watching and interested, because I think that could help kind of springboard into the season.
And then more genius, actually. So I love that I'm saying it non-sarcastically with the WNBA this time. The Indiana Fever open regular season play against the Chicago Sky, the team of Angel Reese. So we're definitely still leaning into that rivalry. I'm more looking forward to seeing Caitlin and Paige Beckers, who's with Dallas now. I think they're the Dallas Wings, if I remember right. That should be something. Paige obviously coming off a national championship run of her own and superstar. Actually, Caitlin Clark talked about the reason she did not go to UConn was because they had already picked up Paige Beckers
a full room
in that class. And so that'll be something else to watch. But, well, that's it for some basic headlines here. We need to get in and take a break because coming up next, we are going to talk to Alan Watson of Golf Plus, get everything that's going on in the golf world, and have us a great old time. You are listening to the Afternoon Underdogs here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida. We're taking the inside drive.
All right, we got caller number 5 on the line. Who do we got out there?
Hey, this is LSU Neil.
Hey, how are you doing? Congratulations.
All right, thank y'all so much. I'm very excited about this.
Yes. Are you a golfer?
Part-time golfer.
I understand
Complete and utter novice.
Middays 11 to 1. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Thursday. Partly sunny the remainder of the day with a wind out of the south around 13 miles per hour and 80. Tonight, look for a light breeze and mostly clear skies with a temperature near 72. Tomorrow, a high around 80 and some sun. Saturday, warm with a high of 78 and some clouds in the morning, but otherwise likely thunderstorms. This weather forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Introducing Water Clear Pools, the home of the 10-week pool guarantee. We guarantee custom pool completion from permit to your first swim in 10 weeks or less. Water Clear Pools is the premier pool builder for the Margaritaville development on Highway 79. Free quotes and custom pools anywhere in Northwest Florida. Call now, 850-835-4177, or see our website, waterclearpool.com. Licensed and insured. License number CPC 1459723.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
Now, we're live and local inside the CBC Construction Studios. For everything in the world of golf, it's the Watson Report. Thursdays at 4:20 with Alan Watson from Golf Plus. ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back into the Afternoon Underdogs here on a Thursday afternoon. Brian Haddad sitting in for David Hayes, joined by James Fife. And just a reminder here, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is your home for the Atlanta Braves, the now middle of the pack in their division. Atlanta Braves no longer sitting at the basement. The only downside to that, James, is we're going to be facing the top team in baseball, the Los Angeles Dodgers, who now currently sit on the best record in baseball. We're going to have coverage of that tomorrow night, first game of the three-game series, I believe it is. So we will pick that up tomorrow. You can listen to that right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. But now we're going to get over to the phone lines and talk to our buddy Alan Watson of Golf Plus. Got the shop up in Dothan, over at the shops at Edgewater near Firefly. Alan, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you guys today?
We're doing great. Got a question, Alan. It's been a little bit. I had to go out of town over the weekend and happened to pop into a Topgolf there, and so got swinging the club again. It got me interested. I was curious because it seems like every couple of weeks we get a new round of drivers or irons like that. What's kind of new over the last couple of weeks in golf clubs that's out there new and exciting for us?
Well, many drivers are making a comeback. Obviously, that's been something that's been here and there over the last few years. They always seem to kind of pop in and they'll make a splash and then they're gone again. So we've got a new crop of those. TaylorMade has the R7 Quad, and then Titleist has the GT280, and then Callaway has the Elite Mini. So we actually have 3 mini drivers in stock right now, and kind of a new thing. It's kind of more of a niche product. It's really just for somebody who needs super long second shots or control off the tee. It's not something that we're going to sell a ton of. Not everybody needs one, but that's really the only kind of big splash product lately, because we are kind of midway through the season. So I hear there's some summer product launches coming from some companies, but we haven't been told what they're going to be yet. So I'm going to find out Tuesday from Callaway what's coming new from them, and then I'll know the next round. But yeah, you're right. I mean, they release obviously too much product too often, and but mini drivers are so unique that it's okay when they launch those every now and then, because it's not it's not for everybody. So.
Yeah, and it's something I've wanted to talk to you about. I think it was about a week ago. I think I cracked David up when I said that the 2 things he would need to Baker act me if he ever caught me doing. One was playing pickleball. We all right in there, James?
Alan, we'll get him back. Hold on.
Did I scare Alan off?
You might have. Let me go find him again. Hold on.
Wow, I didn't know that was going to be that tough a question. He ran. But guys, seriously, make sure that you get out to Golf Plus for all your golfing needs. Even if you're going to ask a tough question. No, I'm kidding. But seriously, it's not just about kind of the new clubs and things like that. The guys there can help you customize that club and have you play your best golf. Alan, you back with us?
I'm back. I don't know, something happened. I heard Baker act. I heard David Hayes and Baker act, and I thought, yeah, that sounds about right. And then we were gone.
All right, so let me start again. I was making the joke on one of the shows last week that the only 2 things that David should ever Baker act me for is if he ever caught me playing pickleball or hitting a hybrid club, and that is layover for me from being kind of young when they came out, and I always saw them as an old person club. But, I mean, talk to us about, they're so much easier to hit than long irons and this. Just talk about kind of the benefit of clubs like that and their impact on the game of golf.
Sure. I mean, I was selling golf clubs when hybrids first came out.
Yeah.
And you're right. It was a big splash when it happened. Everybody threw them in the bag. And then eventually it became kind of like you said, it became this sort of like, oh, well, that's just for my Nana, that's just for old people, it's like carried a 7-wood and all that. Well, now things have come full circle, and we're back to people playing 5-woods and 7-woods. We're back to people playing hybrids again, because like you said, they're so easy to replace those long irons. They're much easier to get the ball in the air. If you take a 21-degree hybrid versus a 21-degree 4-iron or 5-iron today with today's loft, it's just easier. You've got a lot more mass back there. So it's got a lot more forgiveness. You've also got more mass to be able to drag the weight further back, which changes the center of gravity, which makes it easier to launch high in the air. So that's great. You don't have to be old to not be able to hit it high. Some people just don't naturally hit the ball high, and so that means their long irons won't stop on a green. So a hybrid is a great replacement for that. Another thing that hybrids are great for is hitting out of the rough. It's just hard to get a giant fairway wood to go through the rough, and an iron sometimes will twist and torque really bad in rough. So hybrid kind of gives you more control and still gives you the distance. And then there's even one more use for a hybrid that I've seen some of the pros use sometimes over the years, and that's sometimes you can use them almost like a putter around the green. When you're on the collar, you can kind of hold them upright, putt with them, and that'll kind of cause that little chip. It'll get the ball up on the green and rolling. So not that you would use it for that very often, but every now and then it's an alternative that can be done. So yeah, they're very versatile, and people shouldn't dismiss them, especially if they are struggling with their 4-iron, 5-iron, 6-iron.
Well, I'm glad to know you felt the way about them I did back in the day. I just, it's like a mental block thing, but no, I know the benefits of it. It was actually good to hear that from you. Last thing I want to get into with about that, and then we'll kind of get into more of the golf news of the day. All these new clubs are great, in and of themselves, but they're not going to be set up perfectly for you without that customization, without the right shaft, without the right, angle flex, and without the right grip. Talk about some of the things like that can be done, after you've gotten that set of clubs, or maybe even just upgrading the current set that you have that can help you play better.
Yeah, we were adjusting the lie angle and the loft on a set for one of the better players in the area today down at the beach. He's a really top player, plays in top amateur events and wants to try to qualify for the U.S. Open. And so we were dialing in his lofts and lies to create proper gapping, but also with the lie angle, he was hitting the ball just a little bit too far to the right. Every shot was just leaking a little bit right. So we changed the lie angle a little bit more upright. Now he's going to be able to hit the ball straighter and further and higher. And then, with shaft, my God, we could spend days talking about what a shaft can do for a golf club. But really, it's just about matching it to what swing you have. I find that it's much easier to change the golf club than it is to change the golfer.
Yes.
And so if somebody comes to me and they're kind of set in their ways, or maybe they're a little inconsistent, or maybe they're even working on their game, but there are certain things that we just can't change. We can't change our age, our height, our arm length. Those things are not going to change. And so maybe we get a little faster if we are flexible or work out. Maybe we get a little slower as we age if we don't. But those are the non-negotiables. And so within that, we have to deal with what we have, and we have to get golf clubs that fit who we are. And there is no one-size-fits-all. And so we believe in custom fitting. We know that that's certainly what the industry is all about, and we know that people play better golf and have more fun when the clubs are right for them and not just off-the-rack kind of stuff.
100%. Well, let's get into kind of what's going on with tournament golf out there. And one of my favorite events just wrapped up, and that is the PGA Professionals tournament. And Tyler Collett, I believe that's how you say it. I apologize if not. But won the event and actually won by 10 shots, which was unbelievable. His goal was to go out and not shoot over par, and he had to make an 18-footer for bogey on the 72nd hole there to do so, but he ended up shooting 72 in the final round and took the title there. 20 golfers will go on, 20 PGA professionals will go on to compete in May at Quail Hollow for the PGA Championship. It's kind of a unique thing. Every major's kind of got their own thing about qualifying. The Masters very restrictive. The U.S. Open, you can do it through, qualifying rounds, the Open Championship as well. But the PGA allowing, having those 20 PGA pros out there is a pretty cool thing, is it not?
Yeah, it's great. We saw what it did for Michael Block's career.
Yes.
He became an instant superstar. And that is really, the PGA is the only tournament that really allows for that to happen. Now, an amateur, if you think back to like Justin Rose, he kind of broke out as an amateur at the Open Championship, and you could say the same thing has maybe happened at the Masters once or twice, but not really. We don't really look back and think like, oh, I remember that guy, he was a breakout star at Augusta. That doesn't really happen, and it's rare for it to happen in the U.S. Open because it's such a difficult tournament usually. But yeah, the PGA is unique, and golf. For a lot of people can play golf their whole life and never come into contact with a PGA professional because maybe they don't get lessons or maybe they don't play at a facility that has a PGA professional. But they're really the heartbeat of what golf is at the core, because these are people that have devoted their lives to golf and to helping other people and to running facilities and to running tournaments and doing all that stuff. And so I think it's great that you have, like you said, a chunk of guys who are going to get to make up part of the field there and could possibly, beat out some of the best players in the world. So I think it's just really neat. And you're right, that is what makes that tournament so unique.
So much of what's dominated the golf discussion over the last several years has obviously been the LIV and PGA split and all the fallout from that. And then we had one more big story, which was Rory's, quest for the career slam, and he achieved that at the Masters. So short of Rory trying to win the actual Grand Slam, not the Tiger Slam, what are maybe some of the big stories out there in golf? It almost seems like, Rory achieving at the Masters was cool, but it's almost left us with a little bit of a lull in kind of stories that are out there.
Yes, I mean, I would agree with you. That was, in the moment, that was really exciting, and everybody was so happy for Rory for the most part. All the fans, for the most part, were happy that he did that, and it's neat. But you're right. Then it sort of tapers off into like, okay, what does the rest of the season start to look like? Is Scottie Scheffler going to come back and be who he's been the last couple of years? Are we going to see a live golfer win a major this year? Is that going to, be something that sort of sparks? And are we ever going to get some sort of consensus on what's going to happen with the future of the tours? Because right now they are still fractured, and where the live guys may or may not care about that, the PGA Tour should care about that, because it's hurting their ratings still, of course, and it's just not having a unified tour. So, I don't know what the rest of the season is going to look like, but even as a golf person whose life is focused around golf like mine is, I'm not like looking too far ahead and thinking about who's going to win the FedEx Cup or who's going to, I don't think that Rory necessarily has a great chance to win the Grand Slam in its entirety in 1 year. That would be unbelievable. But we'll see. We get to the next major. If he wins that one, then that'll be all the talk in golf. If he doesn't, then we'll see what the next storyline is. Me personally, I'm like a lot of golfers. I'm watching YouTube golf. I'm watching the Bryan brothers. I'm watching Bryson DeChambeau. I'm watching Phil Mickelson. And I'm consuming that golf content more than I'm consuming the PGA Tour or the LIV Tour on television.
I think you're 100% right. And it seemed like when the tour was together, there was always 3 or 4 good names who would inherit that mantle of best player never to win a major. And with the split, we've brought so many young guys along. And look, they're great. They're young and they're talented. But it doesn't seem like we have that kind of... Look, the golfers probably love this because they hated that title. But we don't, in my mind, seem to have that, okay, who's the next guy to go win that major? Maybe I'm just missing it. I haven't followed it quite as much, but there doesn't seem to be the way Xander Schauffele was. We don't seem to have that. Ricky was certainly a big one.
I mean, that went on for years. So, we've got this Jake Knapp kid, and we've got some other guys. But, unfortunately, the stars of tomorrow have not emerged yet. And if you're not a really passionate tour following golf fan, you don't know who any of these guys are, and if you tripped over them in the grocery store, you'd have no idea they were professional golfers. And so I think that is that's a little bit the nature of golf anyway, versus some of the other sports that get more limelight, like basketball and baseball and football and all that. But at the same time, what's interesting to me about golf is that at any given time, you've got about 200 guys in the world that are essentially all the best, right? I mean, it's there's 2 or 3 big names, but at any moment, one of these guys can win, and you're like, wow, okay, that kind of came out of left field. So the talent level is there, the players are there, but there's just nothing overly exciting right now about tournament golf, PGA, LIV, whatever, whichever side. Unfortunately, I'm a golf guy, and I'm going to say it. It's just not. It's not as intriguing as it once was. And until we can get all these guys back on the same stage week in and week out and truly be able to say Rory beat all the best players or Bryson beat all the best players or whatever, until we get back to that, I think there's just a lot of frustration on everybody's part, including mine.
Mine too. Ironically, the Americans have won the last 9 PGAs in a row. And we're going back to Charlotte. We're going to Quail Hollow this year, which was the site of Justin Thomas's first major. And, of course, he just a few weeks ago kind of got off the tournament-winning schneid there. Are we headed back to Quail Hollow at exactly the right time for JT, maybe to make it a 3rd PGA championship?
I mean, he will definitely be putting a lot of pressure on himself, and he is certainly capable, as he's proved. I'm a big JT fan because I'm a Bama guy, but I'm also a big JT doubter because I've seen what he can do. He can shoot course record one day and then completely fall apart the next, or he can have 2 good rounds, make the cut, and then slowly disappear off the leaderboard. So, he's one of those you're going to have to show me for me to believe it. I'm not going to put too much faith in you ahead of time. And you hate to be that way as a fan of the game. But at the same time, what was it they used to say in basketball? It's like if there's 2 seconds left on the clock and we've got to inbound the ball, who's going to take that last shot?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's like we all know there's one superstar on every team. And when it comes to golf, unfortunately, I can't trust him the way I could trust maybe a Jordan Spieth to go out and get it done, or a Rory, or a Scotty, or a Xander, or a Colin Morikawa, or somebody else. I just don't trust JT completely, and I want to because I love the guy. But man, he kills us fans. You'd be waiting 3 years for him to win again. Come on.
Oh, I think one of the players where he pulled like a 10 cup was like 77-62 or something.
Yeah, I mean, he's so capable of going low. He's extremely talented. He gets in his own head, as some of these guys do. I mean, you look at a guy like Scotty who seems to go around Ernie Els fashion where it's like nothing ever phases him. And then you look at JT and it's like that guy's a head case, and you feel bad for him because he definitely wants it. If you've ever seen the guy in an interview, he wants it as bad or more than anybody. And unfortunately, there's another 150 guys out there every week trying to take it from him. So.
That's right. Well, Alan, I could talk to you about golf for hours and hours and hours. Unfortunately, we don't have that much time. But quickly, as we're heading out here, give us kind of a rundown. If we're looking to improve our golf game, where can we come see you?
Yeah, let's go to Golf Plus over there at the shops at Edgewater next to Firefly if you're in the Panama City Beach Market. And if you're in Dothan, we're on Montgomery Highway just inside the circle up the hill from Beef O'Brady's, where we've been for 36 years. We're here to help you. We're a local store, and we've got guys that are golf experts. They're going to help you. And sure, you can run over to the big box store, or you can get on your phone and go to Amazon. But if you want to talk to people that actually play the game of golf, love the game of golf, and are going to help you out, you come to Golf Plus. We'd love to have you.
That's the great Alan Watson. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you again next week, buddy.
All right, Brian. Thanks. See you soon.
All right. I'm telling you, I had like 30 more questions. We could do that all day, but we'll just have to save a little something for next week for Dave. But love Alan, and absolutely, guys, if you want to enjoy the game of golf more, you need to have the right equipment. Get out and see Alan and the staff out there. They will have you playing better right away. When we come back, we're going to go into the NBA playoffs. Some interesting stories last night. See how that whole Luka LeBron thing worked out. Maybe not as well as we'd hoped. That's coming up next. You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida, the Paul Feinbaum Show.
You still with your wife, or did she leave you?
No, she never leaving me, buddy. Hey, I go back to work Monday. I'm going for a whole month. I'll be gone for a whole month. She can do whatever she wants.
You ever thought that the reason she stays with you is you're never there?
I know her.
Paul Feinbaum, weeknights, 6 to 10 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Thursday. Partly sunny the remainder of the day with a wind out of the south around 13 miles per hour and 80. Tonight, look for a light breeze and mostly clear skies with a temperature near 72. Tomorrow, a high around 80 and some sun. Saturday, warm with a high of 78 and some clouds in the morning, but otherwise likely thunderstorms. This weather forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Here at Tracy's Fine Jewelry, we're here to help you celebrate life's precious moments. From engagements, Mother's Day and birthdays, to anniversaries, Father's Day, and graduation. Tracy's Fine Jewelry is with you every step of the way with the perfect gift to celebrate any occasion. Celebrating every I do, Happy Mother's Day, anniversary, graduation, and Father's Day, because every occasion is perfect with a little bit of sparkle. Tracy's Fine Jewelry, putting a sparkle on Bay County for over 50 years.
You found us inside the CBC Construction Studios. You want a big-time sports show? Tune in for the Afternoon Underdogs.
We're live and local here.
Weekdays from 4 till 6.
We need one more SEC team in there to shake things up.
The Afternoon Underdogs are on the air. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back to the Afternoon Underdogs here. And folks, we got your texts, we got your messages. Looking at me and James, it just isn't that appealing. And so we have spruced up the studio here. Morgan Hilliard has joined us. Thank you, Morgan. Now, granted, it was a low bar to clear, but thank you for brightening up this studio with us today. Welcome in. How you doing?
I'm doing. Am I on? I can't tell.
I don't know. James, are we on here?
I hear you.
Take two. Let's go.
Let's try again. I am doing fantastic today. I'm happy to be here with you on this beautiful Thursday in the Panhandle, and I'm excited to hear what you have to say about LeBron and Luka.
Well,
yeah,
we'll see here, but well, obviously, thanks for coming in. I am crazy excited about what we're going to do in the next hour because you're speaking right to my heart. We're going to get into some college baseball today, and I'm thrilled about that. But we do have to cover the NBA playoffs. Of course, big playoff series going on right now. And, well, let's start out west. So the Lakers, you know, they had the decent season, I thought. LeBron looked, a few years younger, and then the big trade comes about.
I would say the scandal of the year. People are still talking about Luka being traded over to the Lakers and how everyone, even at hockey events and some other events, sporting events, people are rocking shirts that say "Fire Nico." I mean, this man is hated on so many different sports platforms. It's almost like one of the biggest deals to happen in a while because no one saw this coming, and everyone is so mad at this man, even if they're not a true NBA follower.
It's been a bad year for everyone named Nico. Nico Collins kept getting injured. Nico Iamaleava does his whole thing with going to UCLA.
And his brother's not doing any better. They've gotten themselves into quite a little shtick there.
Pay a little money back.
Yeah.
That's right. That's true. But, it's just a bad year to be a Nico. So hopefully 2026 is better for the Nico name. But
I'm very thankful to be a Morgan.
Yeah,
so.
There you go. There you go. So, but obviously the Lakers, LeBron, Luka, there was always this, obviously the star power is huge, and that in L.A., I get it. It makes sense, but there was always kind of a thing, look, these guys got put together not that long ago, and how would that play? And I think you saw in Game 3, they got out to the hot start. I think they were up, 14 so points. And then the T-Wolves just kind of ground them down. Ant-Man went nuts in the second half, and they pulled away late and got the victory. L.A. had a shot. They had an open three there at the end and missed. But Game 4, the Lakers they just looked out of gas and out of sorts. The T-Wolves take it to them out there in L.A., win 103-96, and the Lakers are eliminated in the gentleman's sweep. Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves move on. Rudy Gobert had a big game for the T-Wolves after almost knocking LeBron's head off in Game 3. He had 27 points, 24 boards. To be fair, Luka had 28.7 boards and 9 assists, so a good game for Luka overall. But there's going to be a lot of work that needs to be done in the offseason to kind of figure out the balance with these two superstars and how to put a team together around them.
I've seen a lot of speculation where people think that this is going to be LeBron's retirement very soon after this NBA championship. If however far the Lakers end up going, a lot of people are talking about this is going to be his final year. Now, is this true? I don't really know. I'm not a huge LeBron lover.
Sure.
I think he's one of the funniest people. Like, I watched a thread the other day of him lying for no reason. And it's like literally 15 attachments long of just him lying for no reason. I think that's so funny.
Yeah.
He's very meme worthy. He has a lot of clout, on the court, off the court. I think he's a really funny guy. I'm not a big fan of the flopping. I've talked about it before. I know we haven't got to do a show together before. I've talked about him flopping, but his flop last night was just a little overdone. Let's be nicely.
So there were a couple of, look, I'm a little old to be strong on the meme game, as it is, but I do, get some YouTube things that'll pop in, and one of them that I got a kick, I think it was game 2, LeBron kind of went off on the official about something or other like that, and Anthony Edwards looking at LeBron, looking at the official, going back and forth, like, is that not a tech? If that was me, it'd be a tech, kind of like that. So there's always been that talk about LeBron. Look, I'm the perfect age to be a Jordan lover. I mean, he was my guy, and so if you ever get into Jordan LeBron, there's no contest for me. That being said, LeBron's talent is undeniable, and I love the fact that look, I may not agree with him ideologically on a lot of things, but he seems to be a good, solid citizen in that he doesn't get in trouble, seems to be a great family man, good father. I mean, look, he got his kid a gig on the Lakers, for jokes to be made. But I do appreciate that about LeBron in a day and age where, so many athletes are not good examples at all.
I have to agree with you. I think he is a good dad. I think he is a good person in his own world, whatever he does. I don't really... Like I said, I'm not a lover. I don't keep up with him that much. I've never seen any bad headlines about him, though. Maybe something he did during a game, but nothing in the citizen world where we're all just civilians and we're all regular people.
Right.
So I've never seen anything like that.
Well, we've seen the last of him on the court for the year, that's for sure.
I mean, the worst thing I can say about LeBron is when he had his whole special to tell us he was going to go to South Beach.
Yeah.
That was a bad look. I mean, nothing inherently wrong with it other than just bringing a whole bunch of attention on yourself, but that's about the worst thing I can say that he did.
Yeah, I mean, look, self-promotion is the name of the game, unfortunately, this day and age. So, I say this day and age, that was almost 20 years ago when that happened, but you know what I mean. And to your point about kind of the thoughts that this may be his way, I mean, if you think about it, he did get to play with his son. That was a big thing for him. Luka, very similar kind of player who's younger and can go on. So, okay, not similar in the fact he's not as physical.
If he leaves the hamburgers alone, he's got to leave them. No, that was just a joke.
Yeah, I get it, but Luka is not the paragon of fitness, if you will, but he's certainly skilled and he's a big name. He's a splash name, and the Lakers always need that. So, so there is a lot of thought that maybe this was an easy way for LeBron to either step aside or go do one more run somewhere else.
I don't think he's going to retire. LeBron makes me think of one of those guys who, and you meet these guys every day, but he makes me think of one of those guys who will work until he dies. Essentially, I can't imagine him not playing basketball. And he may mentally also have that same mindset of, if I'm not playing basketball, what am I going to be doing?
Yeah.
It's a weird line to walk because you don't really know who these people are in their outside lives. Like before, Travis Kelce, he had a documentary done about him. He is one of the bigger names. He dates a pop idol now, and he's been in a lot of shows. He's had a lot more commercials than I've ever seen him involved in, ever. He's in a lot of spotlight. And I feel like that's something he's drifted towards very easily. He really fits that role. What is LeBron's new spotlight, essentially? I don't think there's enough to know.
It's a great question because a lot of guys, you could see them going down the coaching road, or you could see them going into media. I don't really see either.
I don't either.
With LeBron.
I don't either. I see him
maybe ownership.
I would like to see him maybe step into, I don't want to say a community role, but some type of lower level coaching role because, so many do look up to him. Some kind of give back, I guess is what I'm saying. Some kind of give back. I think he would be a good owner. I think he would really be a GM even. Yeah. He would be a great GM of something. So I would love to see that for him. I think he could navigate it really well. Obviously, he has great PR skills. None of that is to be contested. I I couldn't put a finger on what I think he goes to next.
I think it's an excellent thought. I hadn't really considered it, but in talking with you, I don't know where he goes, but I know this. He's going home right now because the Lakers are done and the T-Wolves are moving on. And the other game last night, we've got kind of the battle of, for lack of a better term, the past and the future. The Warriors kind of hanging on there. Steph and Draymond, had gotten out to the 3-1 lead. The Rockets, good young team, really built themselves through the last couple of drafts. But it's kind of been experience over youth and talent. But the Rockets did get the victory last night at home, 131-116 over the Warriors in a game that really wasn't as close as the final score. Now the Warriors lead the series 3-2, so it'd be interesting to see if they can close it out back in. Where do they play now? Is it in San Francisco or is it in Oakland?
I think they're playing down in like Santa Clara near where the 49ers are.
Yeah. I doubt anybody's playing in Oakland right now. So.
No.
But anyway, so the Rockets stay alive and they move on. They got to win the next two. The Warriors just need one. But like I said, very interesting matchup there between, like I said, kind of the past and the future, if you will. Tonight's games, we have 2 games tonight. The Knicks and the Pistons. New York leads that series 3-2. This will be played in Detroit. The Knicks trying to close it out there. This has been a good series back and forth. And then, of course, the Nuggets and the Clippers playing another great series. Clips got off to a good start. Nuggets now lead 3-2, headed out to L.A., or to Inglewood, to be specific, and they're going to take on the Clippers out there. Clippers need to extend with a win tonight. So both of those games on tonight. Pistons are 1.5-point favorites, and the Clippers are 6.5-point favorites. So the odds say we're going to Game 7 in both of these series, so that should certainly be interesting. Well, that is our wrap-up of the NBA playoffs, and we're about to head to a break. When we get back, I am super excited because we're going to get into some college baseball talk, and not just because my Bulldogs are seeking a new head coach, but because we have a lot of college baseball to get into, and the SEC is certainly loaded when it comes to that. So we'll do all of that next with Morgan Hilliard and myself and James, and just keep that dial right where it is. You are listening to the Afternoon Underdogs right here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Keep the game going with ESPN Northwest Florida. Just because you get out of the car doesn't mean the Sports Talk and Live play-by-play have to end. Just say, hey, Alexa, open ESPN Northwest Florida. From Michigan Avenue to the man cave, from the car to the kitchen, we've got you covered. Keep the game going. Hey, Alexa, open ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Thursday. Partly sunny the remainder of the day with a wind out of the south around 13 miles per hour and 80. Tonight, look for a light breeze and mostly clear skies with a temperature near 72. Tomorrow, a high around 80 and some sun. Saturday, warm with a high of 78 and some clouds in the morning, but otherwise likely thunderstorms. This weather forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Dreaming of sun-drenched beaches and a place to call your own in Northwest Florida? Or perhaps you're looking for the perfect investment opportunity. Since 1962, Anchor Realty Florida has been the trusted name in real estate across the Panhandle. Anchor Realty Florida brings unparalleled local expertise to your search for homes, lots, and investment properties. Don't just dream it, live it. Let Anchor Realty Florida anchor your reality. Visit us online at anchorfl.com. That's anchorfl.com.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Krispy Kreme Donuts has a new Craving Cheesecake collection featuring 3 limited-time donut flavors. There's Strawberry Dream Cheesecake, Cookies and Cream Cheesecake, and Caramel Delight Cheesecake Donuts. All available at Krispy Kreme Donuts in front of HCA Hospital on 23rd Street, Panama City, and on the Ross Clark Circle in Dothan. Krispy Kreme Donuts since 1937. Krispy Kreme Donuts, where you get them hot.
Broadcasting from the CBC Construction Studios. Now back to the most dangerous afternoon show on terrestrial radio.
It's dangerous.
It's illegal in 5 states. The Afternoon Underdogs. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hour number 2. The Afternoon Underdogs here on a Thursday afternoon. Brian Haddad sitting in for David Hayes this afternoon, joined by Morgan Hilliard and by James Fife there in the fishbowl. As we said, rocking that Paul Skeens jersey, and he got rocked this morning.
Lucky jersey, man. I'm wearing the Pirates jersey, and the Cubs win.
That's right.
Hey, I like it.
Well, before we get into, and I'm dying to get into this, talk some college baseball with Morgan, we've got a little giveaway to do.
We do. ESPN, obviously, 104.3. Keep it tuned in here. We're doing the Great T-Shirt giveaway. And congratulations to Quentin Lemon. He won a free shirt by opening our app and smashing the Enter Contest button. And right now, we're giving away another T-shirt from Buffalo Rock on the app. Every morning, you can watch the Coach Hale Show, and it's your chance to win a 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida shirt. I have one personally, and it fits me like a dress. So if you're a woman, just know the medium is literally a dress. But I'll probably be wearing it with leggings. But it is a really cute shirt, and it's very, very comfortable.
Outstanding. So make sure you do that on the app there and get yourself one of those fine, fine T-shirts as well. All right. College baseball. I'm giving you the ball. You're on the mound. Let's
I'll take
go.
it. First of all, I have words. So let's get these words out of the way.
All right.
I have a lot of words.
Okay.
My favorite team, I'm sure you know this, is Texas A&M, and we took on
Nobody's perfect.
No one is perfect ever. Let's put it that way. We took on Texas over the weekend at the Dish. And first of all, I just want to say, having to watch that field 3 days in a row physically pained my eyes.
With your former head coach, too.
It is just the ugliest field in itself. I hate how none of the turf matches the actual dirt. It doesn't play very well. The bounces aren't very easy to read. I just am not a fan of the field in general. But I think what made me even more mad watching this series was the inconsistency behind the plate. All 3 days there was a different umpire, and the only thing they were consistent at was horrible calls. Literally, that was the only consistency I could pick up on. What was a strike 2 batters ago was no longer a strike.
Yeah.
It was all over the place. The range was really, really high and wide. It didn't make any sort of sense. And so, I can see people getting mad in the stands. I'm mad myself watching at home, and I can see exactly where it's placed. Just horrible. Do better. SEC officiating. Can we please get something going on here? If you can hear me, this is my plea and my cry.
Well, especially with home plate umpiring, because you can handle, a zone that's maybe shifted or it's a little low or a little high. That gets established first couple innings, and then you adjust. As long as it's consistent, it's okay.
Yes.
It's like you say, when it's bouncing from one inning to the next, from one game to the next, it's hard to follow.
Everywhere. I mean, it was so all over the place. I remember watching one of Jace's at-bats, and the pitch was inside 3 balls in a row. Sorry, I'm trying to pick my words because I feel very heavily about this.
FCC's ready, don't worry.
But 3 balls in a row, all inside, and none of them landed, and you've got people freaking out. I can see you on the TV. People are upset. It wasn't a strike the first 3 times.
Yeah.
This next one isn't going to be a strike either. He draws his walk and he goes, but that's the thing. Had it been consistent, people wouldn't be so upset and contesting this and whatnot, and almost nothing went for review, which was kind of aggravating in itself as well, because whatever was going on behind the plate filtered everywhere else, and it was just awful awful umpiring to watch. That's all, though. Caden Sorrell, you're so baby girl, by the way. He had one of the greatest catches I've ever seen, followed up by TK3, but I digress, and that's my team.
Okay. I love it.
So,
well, going up against Texas is no easy thing. And like you say, you throw in bad officiating and everything else, it just makes it that much tougher.
I really feel like they are pushing for Texas to be this, like, face. And
maybe.
I don't care. I just don't want to look at that gaudy orange.
Yeah.
That's all. And if you're going to do it, like what we saw in football as well, just make it fair. Don't put stuff out of the way and miss calls on purpose just to give them some sort of a lead or headway or whatever. If you're going to do this, please make it fair. Like, if you're going to give it to one side, give it to both. Make them really earn it if that's what you want from them. If that's what you want them to be, make them earn it. Don't just hand them things, especially because now they have one of the hottest coaches in college baseball. You can't just take my coach, who's a lying, backstabbing snake, and make this wonderful thing out of this college. Please don't do it. Make it fair.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I can't disagree with any of that. Sounds good to me.
Well, that's all I have.
But look at it that way. At least y'all haven't fired your coach in the middle of the season.
You know, I'm very thankful for that. I think him showing a little bit of heat on the field is what's really keeping all of these guys together. And I know that, you know, we retained him so we could retain our roster, but I think his fire is also leading to our dugout having culture again.
You know, sometimes it takes a while to adjust to the big chair, if you will. And look, A&M, obviously, they returned such a roster. They were thought to be preseason number one, and I think a lot of people got caught up in that. That might not have been very fair to, you know, the new coach, but even to the players. Then you had some injuries, you know, preseason and all like that. Got off to the rough start. Teams played really well over the last several weeks. Just ran into the juggernaut this weekend. And look, I'm sure it was very emotional for the players, for the coaching staff, and that can cloud kind of the way you play the games sometimes. But, you know, I wouldn't give up on A&M just yet. I mean, they've certainly turned it around overall, and we've got 3 SEC series left. So
I'm not going to give up on them. I know what it takes if we're going to see a postseason. God, I hope we see a postseason. I don't even care if we go to Omaha. I would just like to see them make a regional at least. And just go somewhere and do something with this incredible roster that we were able to retain. That's what I would mostly like to see from this team.
You know what it reminds me of? A year ago, University of Florida.
Yeah.
You know, they were coming out of being in the championship game. They had lost a few pieces, but obviously Cags was still there. There were some good arms there. Yeah, I get it. And Florida ended up finishing the season one game over 500. They were almost ineligible.
And you know who they lost to?
I do.
Okay.
Because I had picked it wrong.
Yeah.
But very similarly, I mean, the talent on the roster is there. All they got to do is get in the door.
Yes.
Because Florida was a 3 seed in their regional, won it, moved on, got to Omaha, and then was knocked out by the Aggies. But I think if Texas A&M could do that, and right now they're a bubble team. If they can get into a regional, look out. This could be Florida the same way a year. When Ole Miss won their national championship, they were the last team in. I mean, it's one of those things that watch out. If you're the rest of the country, you don't want Texas A&M to make it.
I don't think you want to see us draw any type of regional, and you definitely don't want to be the team on the other side of the diamond if they do draw that regional. But, you know, when the bats are hot, they are hot. But when they are cold, I mean, it's cold. And one thing I've noticed is we can't have both. We can't have good defense and have elite offense at the same time. We are really giving up errors for good bats. Like, you can't have both. You really can't. It's so strange, but this weekend we take on LSU at home, and I've learned that Mike Early will be missing Friday night's game because he was ejected during our midweek this week. So that's something I'm looking forward to personally. How are we going to operate with Adam? And Gavin Krahovic made a little debut as first base coach. That's so exciting as well. So at least he's still going to do something even with his injury. Let's talk matchups this weekend, though.
Yeah, let's
Enough
see.
about about that. We have Texas, Clemson taking on FSU. A 3 versus a 5, a good series to watch if you're watching this weekend. Clemson actually just came off a lose. I think FSU did as well.
Yeah, did not have a good weekend.
Yeah, they didn't. Neither of these teams had a good weekend. So who is going to prevail this weekend? Who do you got?
I think I'm going to take FSU. If Clemson's coming to town and we're playing this at Dick Hauser, I think there's still a lot of emotion on the campus, obviously, from events from a few weeks back. I think this is that kind of time where Link Jarrett bears down. I remember last year it seemed like there was a little lull around the same time, and then they kind of got on a run again. So give me FSU here going forward in this one.
Okay. I think I'm going to take the opposite of you. I think I'm going to take Clemson just because they seem to have a really, really strong presence on the outfield. They have a very strong presence. They have guys who can make really insane plays and rob balls. I think I'm going to take the other side.
Clemson has a good record against FSU recently as well, so
I think they're both great teams. And what's really incredible is their win-to-loss ratio is very, very close as well. Clemson's 36-10 and FSU being 31-9. So this is going to be a really good matchup.
I like it.
I like it as well.
Good baseball.
Very good baseball. I'll be tuning in for sure. You'll like this one, I think. I also have on my list for this weekend Kentucky versus Mississippi State.
Yes.
Two teams who will also have a very, very close win-to-loss ratio. I think I know who you're going to pick.
Well, I don't know. There's so much. I mean, look, we're at Duty Noble Field. I've been there. I think Mississippi State still holds 8 of the top 10 attendance records. It's not going to be this weekend, I go on and tell you, but it's a huge series. The only thing that surprised me about them firing Chris Lemonis when they did, you're facing Kentucky, who I believe is 11th or 12th in the SEC right now.
Okay.
Then you're facing, on the last weekend, Missouri, who has not won an SEC game all year.
I think the only people who are maybe a little bit better than Missouri is South Carolina.
Barely.
That's
right.
Very scraping the surface.
So you have 2 of the worst teams in the conference left. You're still on the bubble if you're Mississippi State. So I was a little surprised by that. That being said, this is a huge weekend because if State, look, what they were trying to do in firing Lemonis now was to jar the program to life. If they can get, they definitely need to win the series. A sweep would be off the chart. But if they can get 2 out of 3 at home over Kentucky, that propels them into the big series with Ole Miss
on
next weekend.
With confidence.
That's right. And then if you go into Missouri, and, you would certainly expect to take 2, if not 3 there, you may have a chance to sneak into that regional. So this is a big, big series. I will take my Bulldogs. They haven't had a great record on Friday this year, but I just can't pick Kentucky. I can't do it.
I'm right there with you. I'm so glad we agree. My next one, really, really close in rankings and standing as well. We have a number 23 Ole Miss taking a number 21 Oklahoma. Records 32-13, 30-13.
So Ole Miss just came off a series win over Vandy. Oklahoma dropped 2 to Georgia.
Which is very interesting because Vandy just beat out Georgia.
Yeah, the SEC is crazy
this year. And then for Ole
year.
Miss to come in and take Vandy, I also was very, very surprised by that.
Agreed. On the road, I mean, that's still a tough road trip. A lot of people aren't used to going out to Oklahoma. It's hard. My gut never wants to pull for Ole Miss or never wants to pick them. I like them. I think they're hitting their stride at the right time. I think Oklahoma is a solid team, but I think they're just going to kind of fade out a little bit. I think you're going to start to see the 2 teams separate themselves. I think Ole Miss is a little more seasoned, so I'll take Ole Miss here.
I feel like we need to get a beer one day because our views are very, very much aligned. You're not making this very fun to pick the other side. This one I thought was really, really fun, just in ratio alone, and there's no reason that I don't think this team shouldn't be ranked unless you dropped one of the other schools who are probably competing very, very evenly with them. You have TCU versus number 24, Arizona.
It's going to be a hard one. I have not watched a ton of Big 12 baseball this year. Obviously, I'm aware of Arizona just historically, more so Arizona State even than Arizona, but Arizona has certainly put some good baseball on the field. TCU, again, solid program, maybe not as consistently good through the years, but when they've been good, they've been very good. Series at Arizona?
It's at Arizona. You've got a 32-13 TCU taking a 31-13 Arizona at home, which is just kind of like that Clemson FSU.
Yeah.
It's very, very close. And like I said, Arizona's not ranked within the top 20 or anything like that. I feel like these teams are very, very evenly matched. And that was one of the reasons I picked it today, is because they've got both sides have a little bit of mix of what everybody's looking for in a matchup.
I get the sense you like kind of the upstart TCU jumping in here, so I'm going to play the contrarian, go conservative, and take the home team. I'm going to take Arizona in this contest.
I'm going to take the Horned Frogs on the road.
There we go.
I'm going to take the Horned Frogs on the road just because I would like to see them do something.
Yeah.
Especially against
This should be a good series as well.
Against the ranked, like I said, with their ratio being so very close. I mean, there's really not a lot of key factors in either of these teams separating them. I think it will be an absolute battle, and maybe even a pitching duel as well, to see what happens in this series.
Love it.
That will be one I will be following very closely. Last one.
Okay,
and
let's
I think
go.
we could fit right into a break. You've got a number 10 Auburn taking on a 12 Tennessee.
So I grew up an Alabama fan, which means I am required by law not to ever say anything positive about the University of Tennessee, and I usually hold to that, which has been hard because they were the national
I thought
champions.
you were going to say Auburn, being that they were right down the road.
No. See, the Auburn thing is fun with your friends.
Okay.
The Tennessee thing is pure hatred.
Okay.
So,
I'm following.
yes, theoretically, I couldn't win in this game unless lightning struck the field while they were both on it. But no, Auburn at Tennessee actually is going to be. Auburn has surprised me this year. I thought they were going to be a 20-25 kind of team. They just took 2 out of 3 from Mississippi State. They've been solid. They've been really good at finding a way to get something out of every weekend this year. If they should, lose the series, they find a way to win it. If they should get swept, they find a way to get a game. They've been solid this year in that. Tennessee had a bit of maybe a national championship hangover to start the season, but they're starting to find their stride.
Well, it's kind of confusing. Tennessee just had a difficult past 2 weekends.
Yeah.
I think ever since we took them at home.
Yeah,
we
and then
took
they
them
just
at home.
lost the series at LSU.
Yes, they've kind of lost some of their confidence. They're taking a little bit of a step back.
Yeah.
But another thing to remember is when they're traveling on the road, they play, and I'm so sorry for all you volunteer fans listening, they play in a Mickey Mouse Stadium. 345 feet at LSU looks a lot different than it does at Tennessee.
It does.
It
And
looks a
look,
lot different. It can be a little bit intimidating, depending on what your eye is trained to. I'm not really sure how confident I am in Tennessee right now.
Well, and look, you as an Aggie fan, you might not agree with me on this, but the only orange worse than burnt orange is Tennessee orange. I'm sorry, Vol fans. I can't stand it. That color is for road cones, and that's all. But you know what? I'm going to go with Auburn here. I like their momentum, even though it wasn't a strong Mississippi State team. I think going to Dudy Noble and taking a series is good. They're going on the road again. They're going to parlay that forward. I'm going to take Auburn here because I can stomach Auburn winning a little easier than Tennessee winning.
I really like Tennessee orange, actually. If there is a good orange... There's a good orange
We can't
across
have that
any
drink
of the
now.
teams. It's Tennessee orange. I'm going to take the Vols at Rocky Top for sure. For sure.
Oh, my goodness. That just hurt my soul, James.
You know why Tennessee wears that orange, though, right?
I don't.
Well, I can tell you why. Thursday, they can pick up trash on the side of the road. Friday, they can go hunting. And Saturday, they go to the game. I'm a Tennessee fan, by the way.
It's a versatile color. You guys can rock it no matter what walk of life you're going to. You could go I guess check in at the county jail in the morning.
Yeah, there you go.
And still make it to the game that night.
As we always said, nothing sucks like a big orange. But SEC standings here, Texas, of course, on top of the conference at 19-2. Unbelievable. I know. Arkansas and LSU tied at 14-7. Tennessee sitting fourth at 13-8. Alabama, surprisingly, 12-9. Of course, they just got to play Missouri, so that's how it goes. Georgia, Ole Miss, Vandy also at 12-9. Auburn and Oklahoma at 11-10. Kentucky sitting in next at 10-11. These conference records, of course. Florida and Texas A&M tied at 8-13. Of course, both were 1-8 at one point this year. Mississippi State locking down that 14th spot at 7-14. South Carolina at 5-16, and Missouri, not Missouri, 0-21 in the conference this year. Not a single
conference
SEC
game.
win. The most Mississippi State thing ever would be for us to give Missouri at least one of those games so they don't go winless and we don't get into a regional. I'm already I just cursed it. It's going to happen now.
I think you should just
I need to stop.
Turn the TV off and walk outside and touch grass this weekend. I think you should spare your own heart attack. The ER bill is not cheap. I think you should just walk away.
Well, the only good thing is we can't miss the SEC tournament this year because they now invite everyone.
Yep.
So that was the
Everyone gets
thing.
to go hang out.
That's right. We get our participation medal. That was a blast. I absolutely love talking that way. I think we're going to stick with baseball. May go to Major League Baseball here next, but loved that and look forward to these big college baseball games here getting kicked off. Most of them tomorrow. Every now and then they'll have a Thursday start to a series, but most of them starting tomorrow.
I believe Texas and Arkansas start tonight.
That's a big series. So, again, another one I have a feeling you're like me with Auburn, Tennessee. You only win if everybody falls over. But
I really don't care, actually. If I'm having a good time, I've already won. If Ags win, it's even better.
There you go. Gig 'em, as they say. When we come back, more baseball talk, but we're going to go up to the professional ranks, see what's going on around Major League Baseball, talk about the Bravos not being in the cellar of the NL East. That's coming up next. You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Your attention, please. ESPN Northwest Florida reminds you it's the law. It's the law. When there's a double red flag, stay out of the water, stick your toes in the sand, grab a cold drink, and listen to live sports.
Swung on, miss, strike three.
On 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Double play!
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Thursday. For tonight, partly cloudy skies and a low of 72 with a calm wind. Tomorrow morning, some sun with temps around 80. In the afternoon and evening, mostly sunny with a gentle breeze and a temperature near 80. Moving into Saturday, about the same with a high of 78 and partly cloudy in the morning followed by sprinkles. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Introducing Water Clear Pools, the home of the 10-week pool guarantee. We guarantee custom pool completion from permit to your first swim in 10 weeks or less. Water Clear Pools is the premier pool builder for the Margaritaville development on Highway 79. Free quotes and custom pools anywhere Northwest Florida. Call now, 850-835-4177, or see our website, waterclearpool.com. Licensed and insured. License number CPC 1459723. MLB is incoming, and you won't miss a game. Introducing Scorpion TV. Over 5,000 live streaming channels. Catch every game of the season with over 100 sports networks, including ESPN, ESPN Plus, the NFL Network, and Red Zone. Even pay-per-view events. Watch 400 local network channels from Panama City and most major markets. Fox, ABC, CBS, and NBC. Just $45 a month with our promo code ESPNNW. Go to ESPNPC.com and click the Scorpion TV logo.
Now, we're live and local inside the CBC Construction Studios. You think you've been on your grind? The 11-year-old cashier at the Gin Gin puts in more hours than you.
Do any of you people do any actual work?
Just saying.
We might need to work on your sales pitch.
Less work and more play.
All right, show's over. Everybody back to work.
Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs, ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back to the Afternoon Underdogs. Brian Haddad, Morgan Hilliard, and James Fife are leading you on your drive home from hopefully a good day at work. And we're going to stay on the diamond here, but we're going to go up to the slightly more professional ranks. You can't say anything's amateur baseball anymore.
No,
pretty sure T-ball kids are getting NIL these days, But yeah, over in Major League Baseball, we've actually had a lot of early games today. So let's go through some of the scores and what we had earlier. James and I were alluding to this earlier. Paul Skeens gets rocked. First time in his Major League career, he gives up 3 home runs. The Cubbies are for real. They take down the Pirates 8-3 in Pittsburgh. Paul Skeens drops to 3-3 on the season with a 2.74 ERA. I don't think the sky is falling just yet, but certainly not the outing Skeens would have wanted this afternoon.
Yeah, Skeens coming out with 16 first pitch strikes on 23 batters. Pretty low numbers for him. He's usually a first strike kind of guy.
Yeah, definitely is. Well, at least it wasn't 3 hitters in a row like Nestor. But
yeah, it was not that at least.
Let's see. AG and Kyle Wright are going to be happy about this. The Cincinnati Redlegs took care of the Cardinals here 9-1 in Cincinnati. Big game there. Graham Ashcraft getting the win for the Reds. Liberatore takes the loss for the Cardinals. 3-hit effort, too, for Ashcraft and the crew. The D-backs take down the Mets. Mets have been on quite a roll to start the season, and they do it at Citi Field. So the Diamondbacks get the win 4-2. Zach Gallen with the win. Actually only moves to 2-4 on the year. D-backs are a good team, too, just in a tough division. Kodai Senga takes the loss
Soto,
for
2
the
home runs on the game.
Metropolitans. What's that?
Soto, 2 home runs on the game.
We don't talk about Juan Soto.
Yes, we do. We talk about Juan Soto. He still plays in New York.
He went across town to the other team.
He still plays in New York.
No,
he's still right
about
there.
Juan Soto. He is invisible to me. Kansas City Royals get the best of the Steinbrenner Rays. Where's their actual stadium?
The Steinbrenner?
Yeah, is it in Clearwater? Where is it?
No, Steinbrenner, it's downtown Tampa.
Is it downtown? Okay.
It's a block.
I couldn't remember exactly where it was.
If you look, like some of the field, whenever you get like a pan looking over first base and you can see over the stands, you can see Raymond James back there.
Okay. Oh, no, the Phillies are in Clearwater. That's what I got. Okay. Well, anyway, they were actually in Tampa and they lost. The Royals got the best of 15 hits for the Royals on this game. 8-2, they take down the Rays. Royals move to 17-15 on the year. Seth Lugo takes the win at 3-3. Shane Baz gets his first loss of the year for the Rays. He drops to 3-1. The Brew Crew gets blanked by the lowly White Sox. Are we in the upside down? Is this Stranger Things? 2 hits for the Brewers. Pretty inept, and they were really starting to turn it around there after that opening rough series against the Yankees. But White Sox on pace to be the second worst team in baseball ahead of the Colorado Rockies, but 8-0, big win for them. Burke with the win. Patrick takes the loss for the Brewers. White Sox now 8-23 on the season. And the Athletics from nowhere get the victory over the Texas Rangers, who are really starting to slump in Arlington. The A's win 3-0, another 3-hit effort. So some good pitching this morning. Springs with a victory, moves to 4-3, and the A's are now 17-15 and 11-6 away from whatever home they call this year. Games currently underway. We only have one. We're in the bottom of the ninth. Twins and Guardians are actually tied at 2. Guardians up with 2 outs, but they do have the bases loaded. So Guardians looking to put that one away before going into extras. But a good one there as well. We do have 3 games tonight. The Nats are going to be at the Phillies. Nats are 13-18. Phillies 17-15. and 13. Red Sox head up across the border, paying that tariff. And they're going to go to the Blue Jays here. Red Sox 17-15. Blue Jays been a little bit rough the last 10 games or so after a great early season run. They sit at 14-16. Oh, and actually 2 more games. The Tigers are at the Angels. Angels slumping, and Mike Trout, don't believe he's going to play.
He had
the sore knee.
He was taken out last night out of caution for the sore knee.
I could be wrong on that, but I don't
sure
think
if he's
he was set to
returning.
play.
I didn't see anything about him returning today.
Okay.
He may be out for the next few games just for injury precaution.
Absolutely. And the Tigers, of course, leading the AL Central. So that'll be a tough one out there in Anaheim. And then your nightcap, the worst team in baseball playing darn near the best team in baseball. The Rockies head out west. They're going to play the San Francisco Giants. Rockies are 5-25 on the season. Did just get a victory, so I think they're now projected to win, 31 games this year?
27.
27, okay. And the Giants sitting at 19-12. The NL West is ridiculously loaded. I mean, the D-backs are 4th in that division. I think they're one of the best teams in baseball. So it's a little bit scary out there. Looking at the standings real quick, my Yankees sit atop the AL East, still 18-13. A little surprised the Orioles, bottom of that division, 12-18, have not hit their stride. Tigers sit atop the AL Central at 19-12, best record in the American League. And how about this for a surprise? The Seattle Mariners are tops in the AL West, 18-12. They were my wild card pick to make the playoffs this year. The New York Mets dropped a game earlier today. They're now 21-11. They sit atop the AL East. Phillies are second. The Bravos at 14-16 are sitting in third. But keep in mind, the Braves are 14-9 after that 0-7 start to start the season.
Which was a very rough start.
It
I think
most certainly was.
A lot of Braves fans were crashing out. So,
how about this? The Chicago Cubs sit atop the NL Central, but look who's right behind them. The Cincinnati Reds now at 17-15 are just 2 games back of the Cubbies. And then the aforementioned NL West, the Dodgers are at 21-10. They sit atop the division by 1.5 games over the Padres, who are at 19-11. The Giants are lowly third at 19-12. And the Diamondbacks at 17-14, with all those division losses, are 4 games back. And then the Rockies at 5-25. So the NL West has 4 great teams and Colorado. So,
you know, a lot of people talk about the Dodgers mostly for their newfound talent in Shohei.
Well-paid talent.
I'm going to be a little bit nicer.
Okay.
I'm going to give them a little bit of grace. It is well paid.
Hey, it's professional baseball.
It is well paid, but Kike Hernandez had a great start the other night for the Dodgers. He did very, very well. And just so all you baseball moms out there know that RFK Jr. was wrong. Autists definitely can play baseball.
Oh, 100%.
If you've ever looked at a major league pitcher, they're 100% on the spectrum. Every single one of them.
I actually think you're 100% right there. Certainly closers have to be a little bit nuts, but
I mean, there is not a single game that you could look at and not see some of that neurodivergency just dying to get out.
We used to have a saying when I coached swimming, and specifically distance swimmers, and we used to have a saying is, you know, that kid's just messed up enough to be really good.
Literally.
You know, you have to have a couple of screws loose to be able to kind of do the work that it takes to achieve it at an extremely high level. And I don't say this flippantly. I mean it. I mean, it really takes
you have to be very
a dedication to what you're doing.
I'm gonna use another very kind choice word. You have to be very, very specially weird to take interest in so much attention to detail in some of these sports and some of these things. Take college football. Take the guys who you don't see and are studying film and are breaking down other teams, and they're breaking down collectively for a weekend, but also breaking them down as a whole for what fits your offense and what you're best at and what you can execute very, very well. And then on that flip side, that guy can't do that. Let's run it 57 times. Like, you really have to have a keen eye to flip these things.
I think the nice word we used to use was savant, and I think it applies. I mean, there are truly savants out there who can just see things at that level, and
really,
those are the ones a lot of times that we truly remember.
Really a master of your craft. I mean, everyone will remember Gordon Ramsay. That guy's definitely crazy.
100%.
So, I mean, you can look at it in all aspects. You're right. You do have to be a very certain type of individual to really give all you have in some situations, and it's very fun to watch.
So I don't know how closely you follow Major League Baseball. I mean, we're obviously about 35 games into the season here. What has stood out to, and James, you can chime in on this as well, what has stood out to you this first part of the season as maybe something that has surprised you a little bit? It can be an individual, it could be a team, it could be just anything macro about the game. What has kind of stood out to you or maybe surprised you about this early part of the season?
The fun. I feel... I'm a proprietor of fun.
Yeah.
I love fun.
I think you're 100% right.
I think these guys look happier than they have in a while, because you look at some sports and they expect everyone to be this stone cold professional. You've got Bosa twerking in the outfield after making a catch. You have all these guys and they look like they're actually enjoying themselves. And I like that a lot.
Do you think that's tied to the big youth movement going on in baseball right now?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think these guys are finally seeing a platform where they can be like, hey, we can kind of be ourselves and we don't have to be so stoic. We can be more fun. I mean, think about some stadiums when they bring in their closer, they shut down the lights, they let off the fire.
It's a whole show.
It's a whole entrance and you're just like a pop star at that point. You're coming in and I think they're seeing all these new, all of that stiffness is kind of dying out and making way for what can be really, really fun. Like the Savannah Bananas.
I was going to say, we were talking about that in the break. Do you think their influence maybe is bleeding over?
I kind of think so. A lot of people will say that they don't like it. And if you're a baseball purist, that's fine. This take isn't for you. So you can go ahead and just close your ears for a second.
I kind of tend to be, but I'll have an open mind here.
So if you're a purist, just close your ears. But I think what they're doing is very, very memorable. I mean, take about how they got started. It's a husband and wife duo who started the Savannah Bananas. They met while working at a low-level stadium, and they had $282 in the team's bank account to do whatever. So the husband, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but the husband started doing all these, I would call it carnival acts to bring people to the ballpark. And I've seen a lot of takes where people are like, oh, well, we went to a major league game and it's all these big time players, but my kids are too young to understand what's really happening. They kind of take that mindset of, I want to introduce you to what's supposed to be really fun and how this is supposed to be played, to something that's just crazy enough to keep them interactive. And so it's fun for everyone. And everyone, take the Taylor Swift commercial from last Super Bowl where the dads are trying to get their daughters to watch football. Now you have little girls wanting to watch football because they want to see Taylor.
Right.
It's kind of taking that aspect in a different timeline and applying it and saying this can be fun for everyone. And that's what brings more people to us, the sport.
I think the best analogy that I've seen, and it's not one that's unique, I think a lot of people have had it, but I think it's right because I grew up with the Harlem Globetrotters, and they weren't trying to be an NBA team. What they were trying to be was ambassadors for the sport.
Right.
And they were great for that. I think the Bananas have found that niche, and they are the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball.
My favorite aspect of the Savannah Bananas, just as a consumer, take everything else out of it. Take the sport out of it. Take all of that away from it. These tickets are based on a set price. they don't influx. They also own a backup company, so if the tickets go to resale, you're not going to get scalped or anything like that.
Excellent.
They put a lot of thought into this, and also they believe in no taxes. So if that t-shirt says it's $30, you're paying $30 for this merch to take home. And
how refreshing is that?
Just from a consumer standpoint, I can't knock that.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to go buy milk and pay $2.87. I don't want to get to the register and find out it's almost $4 or $5 because of whatever tax is on it. Just from that standpoint alone, I have to applaud them in staying true to who they are and who their main audience is, us.
100% agree. James, anything stood out to you this early part of the baseball season?
Well, I'm going to make a quick comment on the bananas. I love the bananas. It's like Joe Engel on steroids. Absolutely love it, man. And Joe Engel back, if you guys out there don't know Joe Engel, go type him in and find his Wikipedia page. He was like the P.T. Barnum of the time of baseball. Like opening day, he would have the players ride elephants onto the field. He traded a second baseman for a turkey. I mean, all kinds of things like that. Jackie Mitchell is a name, too. He brought her in, and she struck out Gehrig, and she struck out Babe Ruth as a 17-year-old softball female pitcher throwing a baseball. Didn't throw it softball style, threw it baseball style. Still struck out all those guys. So, love the bananas. They're making it entertaining. For this year right now in Major League Baseball, the Cubs, and then just the amount of runs that they keep putting up is crazy. They are leading baseball in runs right now. They're going to be the first team to hit 200 runs this season because they're already at like 195 or something like that. And the next closest team is the Yankees at like 170, 75, somewhere in there. But my problem I'm going to be watching for, though, the Cubs like to give up runs. Can they keep on getting those runs? And I'm worried about that bullpen.
I'm going to go with an individual one. I mean, I could certainly use the Mariners, but I picked them, so I feel like I love that one. But it is not a surprise to me that Aaron Judge has hit 10 home runs and leads the league. It is not a surprise to me that he has 32 RBIs and leads the league. Aaron Judge is leading Major League Baseball in batting average by 70 points. Aaron Judge is hitting .427 today. That is unbelievable.
Is this just today or collectively?
No, I mean up to the season.
Okay,
I mean, looking at 30-plus games into the season, Aaron Judge is hitting .427. Who's in second might be even more surprising. Paul Goldschmidt is batting .356, and then you have to go to .345 to get to old horse tranquilizer Tatis at third place. .427 in a day and age where guys struggle to hit 300, and Aaron Judge is not someone you would have thought of as a guy who hits for average. I love it. I think it's phenomenal. I don't think it's going to hold up, but just the fact that Aaron Judge is that far ahead coming off of an MVP season, it's incredible to me, and I hope it. I mean, just being a Yankees fan certainly, but that's just shocking to me. I never ever would ever think I would hear Aaron Judge batting champion. And look, it's early, but still, .427 this far into the season, good gracious.
Yeah, with 117 at-bats.
Yeah, that's got 50 hits already.
Numbers. Almost a 1,300 OPS, a WAR of 3.
It's crazy.
It's just carrying himself through the Yankees. And the Yankees don't need to bring anybody else up. Just have Aaron Judge run around everywhere. Just don't let him be in center.
Fair enough.
Chef Ross chimed in on Facebook, and I kind of mentioned this, but I didn't go too far into detail. The concessions are free at the ballpark. Like I was saying about the ticket.
Fantastic.
Your concessions are worked into your ticket.
That's so cool.
What the Banana's doing is fantastic, and I love both of you guys' points. So
I hope it catches on. I doubt it, but I hope it does. All right. Well, golly, I could talk baseball forever, but we have to get to a break and pay some bills. But when we get back, more exciting sports talk. And look, we'd love to take your phone calls. Give us a call here on the Jed Lawyers phone line. You are listening to the Afternoon Underdogs on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Weather in the Panhandle never stops. return to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast.
Up to the minute weather reports all day long.
A chance of thunderstorms and moderate rain.
In-depth storm coverage.
Winter Storm Enzo.
And breaking weather as it happens.
Hurricane Helene.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
We do have a tropical storm warning.
Rely on it.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Thursday. For tonight, partly cloudy skies and a low of 72 with a calm wind. Tomorrow morning, some sun with temps around 80. In the afternoon and evening, mostly sunny with a gentle breeze and a temperature near 80. Moving into Saturday, about the same with a high of 78 and partly cloudy in the morning followed by sprinkles. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
Hewitt Tire and Auto. Call 850-769-7323. Your certified AAA service center and hometown towing. Visit them online at HewittTire.com. On Airport Road in Panama City. 850-769-7323. Hewitt Tire and Auto Center and hometown towing.
Need a tow? Call Billy at Hometown Towing, 850-265-1562.
You found us inside the CBC Construction Studios. Hot takes, the latest trades, in-depth interviews.
That is my reaction.
We break it down for you right here.
Very big springboard for the rest of my career.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
That's the problem right there.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Final segment of the afternoon here on the Afternoon Underdogs. Brian Haddad sitting in for David, joined by Miss Morgan Hilliard and Mr. James Fife back in the fishbowl. And it's May. James, the Kentucky boy. May means one thing, and that is the Run for the Roses. The Kentucky Derby is right around the corner.
So we know right now what horses are in the Derby. We've had our polls. We know exactly where they will be lining up. So we'll just go through this real quick. I'll give you where everybody's going to sit.
All right.
I'll give you the odds. And
we're all going to pick a winner here.
Kind of pick a winner on this one. So getting in the first post, we have Citizen Bull at a 20-1 odds. He is a Bob Baffert horse, so take that into mind.
Yeah.
Number 2, Neckwis at a 30-1. Coming in on the third post, we got Final Gambit at 30-1. Fourth, we got Rodriguez at 12-1. He is also a Bob Baffert horse, but I have just learned he has been scratched from the Derby, so we will not see him at fourth. I'm sure there will be a replacement horse that will go into that slot.
That's right.
But they have not announced who it will be yet. So as of right now, just a opening for another horse. Number 5 spot, we got American Promise at 30-1. Coming in 6th in our spots, Admire Daytona at 30-1. In the 7th hole, we got Luxor Cafe, 15-1. The one that right now has the best odds coming in the 8th post, Journalism at 3-1. That's a really, really low one right there, man. You usually don't see numbers that low.
3-1's a heavy favorite.
In 9, Burnham Square, 12-1. 10, I want to say Grenade, but no, it's Grande, 20-1. I like the name on this horse. Number 11 spot, the Flying Mohawk at 30-1.
That's your horse.
Love it. That
is your horse.
Just because of it. 12th post, we have East Avenue at 20-1. 13th post, Publisher 20-1.
Wait, we got Journalism and Publisher in the same race?
Journalism and Publisher in this same race.
New York Times next?
Yeah, but take your Journalism over your Publisher. You get a better shot, I guess. 14th, Tzax, 20-1. 15th, Rendered Judgment, 30-1. 16,
sounds scary.
Bull Battle, 30-1. 17, Sandman, 6-1. 18 Sovereignty 5-1. 9th post, Chunk of Gold 30-1. And the final post, way out on the end, number 20, Owen Almighty at 30-1. Now, some numbers to look at.
Good to see a full field.
Nobody in the 17th post has ever won a Derby. And number 5 has won the most Derbies, but it's only won 10.
Am I right in remembering that the 5 post was American Promise?
The 5 post was American Promise.
It's just something about when you said American Promise, I can hear Trump's voice calling that horse.
It
was a great horse.
American Promise, you know.
He's a big horse. He's a great horse.
Nobody does the Derby like American Promise.
He just gets out in front and he just turns and looks.
So there's my pick. I'm going American Promise out of the 5 spot. And I'm going to at 30-1, I'm going to get a good payoff there for the Derby. Morgan, was there a horse name that stuck out to you?
Can I get the stats for Admire Daytona again?
Oh.
Admire Daytona in the 6th post at a 30-1.
I kind of like that one.
Your horse and my horse are going to knock each other out.
I was literally just listening for the names. Whatever name sounded good, like it would really stick with me. I'm all about a little lover boy, a little bit of admiring. Give me that one. I'll take that one.
I like it. James, who you got?
I mean, I love Flying Mohawk just because the name is at 30-1. But coming into the middle, usually if you're in the middle to a little bit closer to the wall, those are usually the spots that win. So at the 8th post, the one at the top, Journalism 3-1. Give it to me.
James going chalk, baby. You know, it's interesting about the Derby. For so many years, I had to watch the Derby. I'm not a huge horse racing fan. I didn't watch the breeders, you know, or anything like
I've
that.
I've never watched the Derby, by the way.
I wouldn't watch Santa Anita or anything like that. Now, I would always watch the Derby, and then I would look at the Preakness to see if someone had a shot, because the Triple Crown meant something so much. Because after Affirmed in 78...
Oh, we had a good long time.
You had until American Pharoah actually accomplished it in 2015, but you had a lot of horses get close. You know, you had probably the closest one was Big Brown. I thought everybody thought Big Brown was going to come through and do that. What was that? Maybe like 06, 07, somewhere in that time frame.
Yeah, real early.
Yeah, didn't get it done. Obviously, you know, I think tripped and collapsed at the Belmont, or pulled up at the Belmont was what it was, had an injury. But then since then, we had American Pharoah win it in 2015, which was huge. Everybody loved that moment. And then Justified does it 3 years later. I almost feel like some of the luster is off of it because we've had a couple in the last 10 years. And it's not that kind of thing that pulls in casuals, maybe like I was, or
I'm
probably like all of us
for sure. I can't even call myself a casual, actually.
Yeah.
No.
So I almost hope like we don't get a Triple Crown runner for a while. Maybe it'll drive some interest on that. But look, there's nothing like following a super horse when it has a chance to win the Triple Crown.
Absolutely.
That is pretty cool. American Pharoah's run was unbelievable. But, you know, it was funny because we were talking about this, James, before we came on. From Citation to Secretariat, there was 25 years. And then we had Secretariat in 73, Seattle Slew in 77, Affirmed in 78. So in like 6 years, we had 3 Triple Crown winners. And then we went 37 years again before we got another one. So it's really weird how, you know, the spacing goes on this Triple Crown. And they're 3 unique races, all different distances, and with the long one being last. It's a pretty cool thing. I'm actually talking myself into watching the Derby again.
I watch every Derby mostly because when you grow up in Kentucky, you watch it on TV. You never actually go to Churchill Downs because if you're from Kentucky, you probably don't have enough money to actually get into Churchill Downs for the Derby, but you always watch it on the TV.
Speaking about racing, I'm going to throw you guys a little curveball here. Formula One comes to the States for the first time this year. Obviously, it's early in the season. We're going down to Miami. And look, I know why Formula One does this. They kind of call it their Monaco in the States. Obviously, it's not Monaco. They're running around Hard Rock Stadium, for crying out loud. I hate the track, but I get the South Beach, and it draws the celebrities in, and that's what they love. But let me ask you guys this. Obviously, Formula One with the Netflix show a few years ago has made a huge jump. I've followed it for a very long time. I really enjoy it. But we went from no races for so long in the States to now we have 3. Are 3 too many, or do you guys like the fact that we're bringing a lot of races over here, and is that good for Formula One?
For me, I don't mind. I like 3. I think it's a good number. I don't think we really need to have any more than that because it is a worldly event. I want to share it with the world, and I want to see this thing take place all over. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's one of the great things about F1 is it is multicultural. It goes to everywhere, and that is one of the really, really cool things about it. So and it makes sense to me as a marketing standpoint of F1 having 3 races in the States because there's a lot of people in the U.S. We're a country that has a pretty big population compared to some of the other countries around there. So it's a market that I totally understand why they want to get in, break in, and keep. But I don't know how great it can do because, let's face it, we're a NASCAR country. We love NASCAR.
That is true. RJ's yelling at us.
Nowhere near NASCAR.
That's right. Morgan, do you follow Formula One at all?
I don't follow it as closely as some people do. I do keep up with a little bit of it, but that's only because my dad is probably the number one racing fan on the planet.
Okay.
My dad, he's a lot how I am with baseball. Whatever game is being played, I'm watching.
Yes.
That's literally my father. It doesn't matter if it's dirt track, if it's Talladega, whatever, the man is watching it. He watches all the different cars, the trucks, everything. Yeah. That's kind of how he is. So I follow it just so I have something to talk about with him. I love him, and that's my man. He follows what I like. I follow what he likes. But I have to agree with James's point. It is kind of an untapped market. On the leading into that untapped market, I don't think 3 is too many. I think starting south is good because everyone here is literally crazy about racing. Maybe you drive in a little bit of fan base and maybe catch some new fans. Yeah. Without knowing it and kind of bring that in. I do know a lot of people who follow F1 though. A lot of people are very, very educated in F1 and kind of build their schedules around how we would build football games. And having 3 races in the States is probably honestly ideal. Not too small, not too many. You're not really overdoing it, but a lot of countries don't really recognize this, and I don't think Americans the most recognize this. I see what time it is.
You're good.
I'll make it quick.
You're good.
A lot of Americans don't recognize how big the states really are. I mean, it takes 11 hours to get from here to maybe any other major place outside of like Tennessee or anything like that. Even just to go up to South Carolina, you're looking about 8 hours, you know? So I think having it in 3 different places is very strategically placed. So a lot of people are, one, you're not traveling near as far, expenses aren't going to be as bad, and there's more appeal to actually give your money to F1 and build around that. So I think it's perfect.
You're so right about the geography. When I tell people I live in Florida, they're like, oh, do you ever get to Miami? And I'm like, I can get to the Kentucky Derby quicker than I could get to the F1 race, I think, to Louisville instead of Miami. But look, from a viewer, it's great because 3 and their different times. It's got to be hard on the teams going back and forth across the Atlantic with all that equipment. The way they used to do it, they'd kind of run Canada, U.S., Mexico all around the same time. Miami, if I had to drop one, I would drop Miami. I love the purpose-built track in Austin at COTA. And then the race in Vegas down the strip is just too cool. So I've got to keep that. Miami, it's okay. I guess I don't mind. If you're going to do it, I would have it first. And, let the celebrities go out and be seen and everything like that. That's great.
I think it's kind of just a tick on their mark, so they made it over here. And I mean, if you look at any other major city around us, you're not going to have as much draw as you do as Miami.
That's true.
I think the only other place you could really choose on this side of the map would maybe be somewhere around Atlanta or something like that. Yeah. I think if you're going to be over here, Miami is actually very strategic.
Yeah, I think you're right. Well, I'm looking forward to watching it. I'm looking forward to watching horses and horsepower in cars and all kind of things like that. Of course, Memorial Day weekend's the greatest weekend there is. We have to save that for another time. Morgan, thank you so much for joining us here. We're going to watch some baseball together.
Thanks for having me.
James, appreciate it as always. Make sure you listen to Coach Hale in the morning, Ryan at 11, and the Afternoon Underdogs tomorrow at 4. You've been listening to ESPN Northwest Florida.
It Braves are back.
Here comes the throw. It's late. Braves win.
And ESPN Northwest Florida is your exclusive radio home for Braves country.
He just